Product photography, in this case a Vera Forma Navigator belt that this company had sent me to make a video on. I also want to take some photos. I was trying to think of ways to make it look more interesting. I have a setup here, but it doesn't look really fitting with this specific product. I went to a few stores to look for some type of backdrop, some type of surface to use. I landed on Lowe's. It's one of the home improvement stores in the area. I think it would be true for Home Depot and Menards as well. But specifically Lowe's, they have these 18-inch square vinyl flooring tiles. They're very low cost. So I picked up the 4 that they had available. Goal is to sandwich 2 of them together, and then I have 2 surfaces, other 2 together, another 2 surfaces to try to improve the photos. This one here is kind of a marble look to it. Not really sure if this will be strong enough to bond the 2 pieces together, but can always use some type of glue. In total, under $15 for the 4 squares. It's a flooring thing, and they didn't have any fake wood ones, at least at that specific store. I think these 2 are a good combination for maybe a light background and the foreground a darker, so I'm not going to attach those together. I don't think I'll be using these 2 together. I have the 2 ready to go. Just need to align them. That did increase their structural stability. I think the adhesive is going to be fine. I could always put an edge around this if I want to make it a little cleaner. Although when you're photographing, if you do put an edge, it could show up in the background. Might not be ideal. You know, if you don't get it absolutely perfect, there is a little bit of stickiness. I do want to get this off. Otherwise it may make the surface a little uneven. 2 different additional surfaces. These definitely have some weight to them, so keep that in mind. You'll notice when you try to pick them up at the store. Do have some flex, which is not great, but I don't think it's enough to be an issue. I have the 50mm f1.8s on the Nikon Z5, which will be for the photos, in addition to the 28mm f2.8. Might even try this AstrHori 50mm tilt lens, in addition to some colored light if I need it. I'm thinking just a simple picture of the bag with the belt, top down type of thing. I have the Weeylite Ninja 400 on the side at 70% power, 5600 Kelvin color temperature, and then I have another one just shooting up into the ceiling, so it adds a bit of additional fill coming down. All right, here are the photos from that photo shoot. It was pretty much like a speed run, taking photos. I really tried to do it quick. I don't know why. Keep that in mind with the photos, is just generally focusing on the idea of it rather than the execution of it. I like the contrast of this object plus that specific background. That's a nice combination. 50mm f1.8s, so I had a decent amount of room. Stuff like this on the edge I can clip out if I need to. So in this case you can see cropping works out okay. Here I switched to one of the other backgrounds. Definitely gives it a different look, which was the goal. Have a bit of variety, mixture. These are large enough that they do afford me a little bit of breathing room on the back. It looks like I've been editing a few of these, just going through them. Try to change my angle, get a different look. A lot of options. Again, the surface looks relatively decent up close. It does have some texturing from how it's printed, which isn't ideal, because you can tell at that point that it's fake, but I'd say when the picture is sized to whatever format you're going to use it in, I think it'll work out okay most of the time. But I wasn't really feeling this specific surface. Don't think I took a ton of photos with it. That one's pretty good. I could see using this one here. Another top down. Again, this one here, you can see the reflection didn't work out well. I could definitely fix this one up to make it work, but in the background you can see I was running out of room at this specific angle, and I got some of the other surface showing up. It doesn't look terrible, it's just not ideal. Same situation, there's a little bit of that other surface. I could fix that or change it. You know, it's good to experiment and try different stuff. Here I'm using the 28mm f2.8 so I can get a decent amount closer and just get a different look to the photos. It's going to take more in, which for this might not be ideal. So yeah, more experimentation of trying to see what I can do with it. These were not perfectly aligned when I sandwiched them together, but I think some of them might have been slightly off too. I can't remember the name of that light right now, but it's RGB. Tried to mimic this gold yellow, but I wasn't able to perfectly dial it in. Again, I can fix the distortions showing up with the specific lens. Okay, not sure. Oh, this one here is the AstrHori 50mm tilt lens. I didn't use it too much, but you can see it's a very unique
option. If I had used this a little bit more and experimented with it and just tried to get a better feel for what I could do with it, definitely get some interesting stuff with this tilt lens. Being a smaller subject, it's easier to cut out things you don't want with a lens like that. So you can see obviously the background's much blurrier. Then I moved back to the 50 f1.8s. At the very least, you get an idea of the potential of different surfaces, especially lower cost options that you can buy a bunch of them, store them, use them as needed. The way that they produce different colors, not necessarily the texture, but the texture helps a lot as well. I think it works out because the gray slate here definitely is better than if I were using that other surface, that cutting board surface that I have. Here I was using, I think, a 17mm close focus tube because the 50 in this case isn't super great for close focus. There's the Vera Forma Leatherworks logo on that. It's a nice belt if you want to check it out. I will have links in the description. Let's see if I can find one that's actually in focus where I want it. That's a little bit better. I probably should have used a smaller aperture. Of course, you can do stacking as well. Here are two actual edits that I was trying to make. You got the Vera Forma logo, the belt's in decent focus. It's not perfect, but I think it worked. And then the colored lighting and the slate surface on the bottom. I like it. It's a good mix. I think I added a bunch of vignetting and stuff here to make it more moody. That one turned out okay. This one too as well. The focus is off. Still, I think it's good enough for a thumbnail image, which is what I use for the video on this one. Anyways, hope you get the idea. Relatively low cost options at home improvement stores to use as surfaces, probably even props and other objects, things that you can do with your photos to get some interesting stuff out of it. You know, try different things, see what works. Scarf Trophy Bonsai, thanks.